All right, well, President Trump, as you know, is preparing for his remarks for his very first address to Congress. The president is expected to lay out his plans in two major categories: public safety and economic opportunity. Now, that includes both reforming the tax code for individuals and businesses, as well as overhauling health care. And, of course, all eyes are still focused on the president's controversial immigration ban and the new executive order that is expected to be released soon.
A lot to talk about. Noorani, executive director of the National Immigration Forum and author of There Goes the Neighborhood, starts us off tonight. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
We are well. Okay, so what are you expecting to see this week? You know, the White House has said all along, we didn't do anything wrong. We didn't see anything wrong with that initial order, but we're gonna formulate an order that will pass the muster of these courts. What do you think we're going to see?
Well, I think we're going to see exactly what President Trump has promised over the course of his campaign, and that is a Muslim ban. In fact, you know, since the original order was upheld or withheld by the courts, and they've been in this redrafting mode. Steve Miller actually said it just last week that the order that comes out this week will actually have the same policy outcome. So, you know, it may look a little different, but we're expecting really the same outcome in terms of, you know, halting travel from these 7 predominantly Muslim countries, and at the end of the day, having very little, if any, national security effect.
The administration has said they're going to try to make this one tighter so that it can't undergo the same scrutiny or be put on hold like we've seen the previous order. What sort of reaction do you think we're going to start seeing from immigration groups, immigration rights groups, the ACLU? Will we see something similar to what we saw?
Well, as we're talking to business leaders and law enforcement leaders across the country, they are getting increasingly worried not just about the travel ban, as it will be reissued on Wednesday, but also this massive increase in immigration enforcement. From growers to technology companies to manufacturers to the construction industry, they're all worried because their workforce is much less stable, and their workers are incredibly worried that, you know, frankly, they're going to have U.S. citizen children left at home alone because ICE's immigration enforcement is going to come and pick them up. And then from a law enforcement perspective, when we talk to chiefs and sheriffs across the country, they're mortified because their ability to protect and serve the entirety of their communities is being undermined by these federal immigration enforcement actions.
Let me ask you a little bit more about that deportation order. We know Virginia Governor Terry McAuliffe met with the Homeland Security Director John Kelly and asked the very question, you know, how does this impact what's going on across the country, specifically here in Virginia? And he says that the Trump administration's intent was not to deport everyone who is an undocumented immigrant, but rather just those who are committing crimes. Do you think that is enough to sort of quell these fears?
The fear is palpable across the country, whether somebody is a U.S. citizen, a child of an immigrant, or, you know, frankly, the family next door has been here for generations. They are worried about the immigrant community that they have come to know and love. And what's happening is that, yes, immigration enforcement may be initially looking for, quote, a bad hombre. But if you are standing next to that person and you're merely out of immigration status, you're going to be swept up in that action. And that's where we're seeing the real pain and misery within the community.
All right. Noorani, good to see you tonight. Thanks for joining us.